Hey guys, Theron Asbury here with Revital Outdoors, bringing another exciting podcast. Tonight we're going to the great state of Mississippi. We're going to be talking to Mr. Taurian Parks. Last year, Taurian got second place runner-up at the Mississippi Division BFL tournament on Ross Barnett. That tournament's coming up in a few weeks for this year, so we're very, very excited to talk to another top 5 angler. And actually, this is going to be our first podcast we've done with the Mississippi Division, so very excited for that. Before we get started, as always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. And once you subscribe, you will get notified when all of our content drops. We got a lot of great content coming in the future, talking to all these great BFL anglers. Again, we're Revital Outdoors. Check us out on social media. That's going to be Facebook and Instagram. And if you've never heard of Revital Outdoors, check out our website. You can find all of our products there. We're a premium CBD company. We have a premium product line for all outdoor enthusiasts. Our products are THC-free, made right here in America. So you can purchase right there on our website. And then also, if you're interested, you can apply for a pro staff position as well there. And we're accepting pro staff daily. So check all that out. Now, that being said, let's go ahead and bring him in from Mississippi, Mr. Taurian Parks. Taurian, how you doing this evening, bud?
I'm doing fine, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Man, I appreciate you coming on board tonight. Really excited to talk to you about Ross Barnett. So let's just get right into it, man. Runner-up last year. You and I were talking before we got on the podcast. You've had a great history on Ross Barnett. I think you mentioned having 3 or 4 top 5 finishes and even more top 10 finishes outside of that over the years. So, man, what's so good about Ross Barnett, and why does it click with you?
Man, Ross Barnett gets a bad rap, but from outsiders, but it's really a great lake, man. I can't complain about it. It's a good river lake. A lot of guys talk bad about it because they don't know how to run the lake, or they can't find the fish because it's 33,000 acres, and a lot of it is unfishable because it's so shallow. But if you can figure the lake out, you can learn how to run it, and you can find the grass, you can find the points and things like that, you could do pretty well in it. And over the years, I've been fishing it. You know, I live in Mississippi. It's about Ross Barnett is maybe about 15, 20 minutes away from me. So I'm on it pretty often. So I kind of find little ditches and things like that other guys may not fish. There's no secrets about Ross Barnett. Everything is pretty much a community hole, but some of those community holes are less fish. And maybe sometimes you just have to humble in on those areas and just try to pick you out 5.
I got you. So that being said, it already sounds like Ross Barnett, it kind of fits in the mold of a lot of different anglers. You can kind of do whatever you want there, and you can also cover a lot of water, put a lot of rods on the boat, and just go junk fishing, if anything.
Pretty much. It changes from day to day, man, honestly. So you can go to Ross Barnett today, you can catch them on the rocks. You can go back tomorrow, they're not there, because it's not a lake like you would say. Let's just say Pickwick, where they're on the ledges. You're not going to be able to come to Ross Barnett and say, okay, I'm gonna find them on the ledge. There's no ledges there. You know, you have the river channel, but the water runs and the rivers run, and not half the time you get a big rain. So it's not a pattern lake. You can do the same thing, but like you said, you can pretty much junk fish around the lake and pretty much catch you something. If you run into them, you want to stay, because if you get a bite on the reds, there's more than one in that spot, in that area.
Okay. Well, thinking about last year's tournament, talk to us a little bit about what you put together, maybe a pattern you ran, maybe the style of bait you were throwing. Like, how did it all just come together for you last year?
Well, I'm starting practice with it because it was a crazy week, man. So that tournament, before that tournament, we had a bunch of rain that week. I don't think I practiced the actual week of the tournament because we had so much rain up north of the river. And the week prior to that, I actually practiced, and I practiced that weekend before the tournament. And I found a couple of areas where I was getting bit consistently, fishing down maybe like 100 or 200 yard bank. And I was like getting bit, right? So the tournament week comes around, can't practice. We got storms here, tornadoes almost in the area. So it rained all week. Come Saturday, tournament morning, the water, I want to say that the lake, well, upriver, it rose about 4 feet. I don't know if you have any experience with river fishing, or but when you get a lot of rain up the river and up north parts of the city or the state you're in, the water came down the river, and the river swole. It swelled up, the main lake was pretty much level, but the river, it had swollen up on me, and the water was running over the banks and everything. But I still went to the areas that I had fish because I'm pretty, like I said, I'm comfortable with fishing the river and the muddy water because Ross Barnett is always muddy. So I still ran to my spot up river. And when I get into the creek that I was fishing in, like I said, the water was coming over the banks where I was actually fishing. I couldn't see the grass. I couldn't see the brush that was on the bank. So I still fished. I fished all the way back to the back of the creek, throwing a chatterbait, up on the bank. I didn't catch anything. Well, let me start back. When I first get there, it's a point. I throw up on a point. I hook up into one, a good one, had to be at least 4 or 5 pounds. He comes up, he spits the chatterbait. I said, okay, they're biting. So I took the point around. I fished around the point. I took it all the way to the back of the creek. Not one bite. So I said, you know what? Let me just go back to the point where I originally caught that, where I had that bite. So I come back to the point, throw up there again. First cast, boom, 6-pounder, right? So I'm like, something's going on here, right? So I catch the 6-pounder, put him in a live well, throw out there again, get another bite. I miss him. Throw up there again, another bite. I miss him. So I go around the corner of that point. The point is maybe, it comes out from, well, in practice, the point was maybe 2 foot deep. But like I said, the water rose on me. And on that same point, it was some grass in practice. That was some tall grass, like maybe some hay grass or something. I'm not sure exactly what type of grass it was. But with that water flooding, that grass was now 1 to 2 foot under the water. So I guess those fish had to be sitting in that grass. I got a lot of bites. I caught a lot of short fish, but I only caught 3 keepers, and I still came in second place. I caught a 6, and I caught 2 about 3 pounds, and the one I missed was like I said, maybe about 4 or 5 pounds. If I would have filled my limit out, I'm pretty sure I would have won that tournament, but I couldn't get them. I couldn't stick them for some reason. I'm not sure, but in March on the reservoir is already a muddy lake, is already stained, and when determining on what the weather may look like early March, if we get some rain, it's going to be some current up there and things like that, and there's going to be a lot of mud in the water. But those fish are not scared, or they don't shy away from the mud. That's what they live in all year long. It deters the fishermen, but not the fish.
I got you. Growing up, I'm originally from Oklahoma. I grew up on Grand Lake. So when you're talking about, fishing the river and fishing a lake that has a river flowing into it, it did not matter if we didn't get rain. What mattered was up north. So if our northern estuaries got rain, that water was coming down the river. And I mean, it was going to happen quick. And the other thing is very similar to what you're talking about. We didn't have grass and we didn't have some of the structure you're talking about. But we did have the muddy water, and those fish, they're used to it. I mean, I know it's looks crazy, and sometimes you look at like chocolate milk. I'm referencing back to 2016, the Bassmaster Classic that was there that Edwin Evers won. It was absolute chocolate milk, although Edwin was able to find a little clear water area up the Elk River. For the most part, those guys were throwing big spinner baits, big swim baits, big jerk baits, but the fish get used to that muddy water, as crazy as it sounds.
Yeah, and I think a lot of guys get into the muddy water, but I think the fish use more of their lateral line more than they're using their eyesight in that type of environment when the water is muddy like that. So on the reservoir, the water's muddy all the time. You have areas where the water's cleaner, like Main Lake, Lower Main Lake, things like that is going to be a little cleaner. But if for guys that's coming down. They shouldn't be. They see that muddy water. They coming in from out of state. Oh man, this water's too muddy. Don't let that deter you. Still fishing what you're gonna fish, and you're running to them. I think that's the advantage I have over a lot of people.
Absolutely. This time of year, especially when the fish are thinking about moving up, the days are getting a little bit longer. You hit that moon phase just right. Get into that dirty water. I mean, those fish got to eat. They're not going to go nowhere. They got to eat. So I definitely like where you're going with that. You said you caught your fish kind of on the points. Was that relating to some structure that was, interrupting the current flow, or can you break it down a little bit about those points?
Right. So this point I'm speaking of, it was actually like a little island. The area I was fishing in, the point was pretty much coming off an island that was maybe stopping some of that water from flowing. So it was kind of like an eddy. It was an eddy with the point with the grass. So that grass and the eddy, and I think those fish was holding up in that grass in that eddy because it was out of the creek. Well, in practice, I didn't catch anything on the point. I caught all the fish on that island bank, all the way going back. But I guess when that water came in, sweeping in, it pushed those fish out of the creek and onto that point in that grass. Because, like I said, that grass was 2 foot, 3 foot out of the water in practice. But in practice, that current and that by the river swelling up, all of that water covered that grass up.
I got you. Okay. So as far as bait goes, sounds like you're throwing reaction baits. Is that pretty much what you're relating to? Maybe chatterbait, spinnerbait, crankbait, all that?
Yeah, yep. I was actually throwing a chatterbait in that grass. I tried to flip because, like I said, when the lake swell up like that in the river, I thought the fish would move back into some of those trees and things like that because the trees. I was flipping the trees. I couldn't get a bite flipping back into some of those trees and
That
things like that.
shocks me. I was just fixing to ask you, what's the flipping bite on Ross Barnett when it gets like that?
Now, I I usually catch them flipping. Now I don't want to deter anybody, but the year I came in the 11th, I was actually flipping. I was flipping grass and wood and anything that I can find hard wood on. I was flipping grass that was associated to some wood and things like that, and I did pretty well that year. I came in 11th with only 4 fish. I missed a good one, and I'm only fishing for 5 bites. I'm not fishing for a school of fish like some guys come and do. I'm fishing for 5 big ones, man. 5 big ones. But yeah, the
I
flipping
got you.
bite
So
is pretty
you're,
good.
you were speaking all the right language for a good flipping bite, so that's awesome. Well, talk to us a little bit more. Last year, second place, had a great tournament. Even though you caught 3 fish, sounds like you got upwards of 12 pounds, almost hitting the teens. So, I mean, you obviously had the quality. How do you think last year will differ from this year, or is there some same similarities? I know you guys have been getting some rain. The weather's been kind of crazy, so do you kind of predict the same stuff for this year?
Yeah. The weather in Mississippi is a little crazy, but it's kind of predictable. We get the same type of weather in March, April. We get thunderstorms. We get a lot of rain. We get tornado warnings and things like that. We're under one right now, actually, but we get a lot of rain and things like that. So come March, it's probably going to be about the same. It's going to be some rain, and if the water temperature is about 55, 60, those fish may want to start moving up. I'm not sure that we had some warm weather this week, so it kind of plays on the weather around here. But basically, come March, it's going to be about the same. Every year is about the same on the reservoir. You're going to get that muddy water. You're going to get that rain. So you're going to have some type of current on that river, even if it doesn't swells up like it did that year. It's going to be if I say what's going to take to win it, I'm going to say about 18, 19, 20 pounds. The fish are there to be caught. I had a buddy catch an 11-pounder last week. So it's some nice ones in there. And kind of to break down the lake for you, you have basically, we break it down into 3 parts. We have the main lake, we have Pillahatchee Creek, and we have upriver. The main lake is probably going to be one in the main lake come March because you got a lot of flats. You got pad stems, you got sawgrass, you got coontail, you got gator grass. So it may get a lot of pressure, especially with some of those guys coming from the opens, maybe going to be practicing it also. So I don't know if any of those guys are going to jump into the BFLs, but that main lake area, it get hits hard. Pillahatchee Bay get hits hard. Upriver is going to get hit hard, but some of those areas are less accessible depending on your boat and things like that, or if you know where you're going and things like that. So it's gonna be a good tournament.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, well, Taurian, man, it's been a great honor having you on with our podcast. You gave us a lot of great information. Before we let you go, we just want to give you the opportunity. I know you got a lot of people. You've been doing this a long time, man. I checked you out on Facebook and Major League Fishing. You've been doing this a long, long time, and a hell of an angler from the state of Mississippi. So I got to commend you on that one. But I know you got a lot of people that support you, so I just want to give you the opportunity to thank them real quick.
Yeah, first of all, let me thank my wife for letting me take all this time and go out and fishing. She keeps the kids. She let me run around. She let me spend all this money on fishing equipment and things like that. So I wanna thank her first of all. I love my wife. She supports me in this fishing thing. I want to thank Express Boats. I want to thank Favorite Fishing. I want to thank Woo Tungsten. I want to thank Riot Baits. They help me out here and there. So those are the guys I want to thank, and I want to thank God for allowing me to live and enjoy this wonderful outdoors, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, well, Torian, it's been an honor having you on. Thank you again, and man, good luck this year. We wish you all the best. And honestly, I can already sense that we're going to be having you back on our podcast because that means you're going to be having a good year in 2022. So, best of luck to you, and I'm sure I'll be talking to you very, very soon and have you back on to talk about your success this year fishing the Mississippi
Yeah,
Division of
man.
the BFL.
No problem, man. No problem. Bring me back whenever you need me. Just reach out.
Absolutely. So, well, from all of us at Revital Outdoors, I'm Theron Asbury. You've been talking to Mr. Taurian Parks. Again, he got second place, runner-up last year at the Mississippi Division BFL tournament on Ross Barnett. So we wish him the best of luck this year and all the anglers fishing the Mississippi Division. Again, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on our website. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook. From all of us at Revital Outdoors, God bless. Be safe out there. We will talk to everyone very, very soon.